Violet dialed the number Elias gave her, hands shaking, then froze when a child's voice answered, whispering, "He can't come to the phone." The fire followed him home. In the background, Violet heard Elias breathing, tight, controlled, like he was back in smoke again. Then the line clicked, and a text flashed from an unknown number. "Look up."
If you've ever loved someone the world didn't understand, like, subscribe, and stay, you're gonna feel this one. Comment "Love wins" if you're staying, because this couple is about to be tested.
The smoke finds Violet before the flames do. It starts as a bitter taste on her tongue, like she's licked a battery. Then the air in her one-bedroom apartment thickens, turning every breath into work. Violet Hartman sits up so fast the blanket slides off her hips and pools at her knees. For a second, she just listens, confused. Hair a messy waterfall over one shoulder, heart thumping like it's trying to punch a hole out of her chest. No music, no TV, just a low, hungry crackle somewhere outside her door. She swings her legs over the side of the bed and steps onto the cold floor, barefoot. Her phone is on the nightstand, screen dark. She grabs it on instinct and presses the button. No power. The building's usual hum is gone too. Even the fridge is silent. The air smells wrong. Violet moves toward the hallway, one hand on the wall for balance, the other holding her phone like it can magically dial the world back into place. She's thick and curvy, soft in the middle, strong in the thighs, the kind of body that makes her feel both visible and vulnerable depending on the day. Right now, she just feels human, small, breakable. She reaches the front door and rests her palm against it, warm, not sun on a window pane, warm. Warm, like something living on the other side is breathing heat into the wood. Her throat tightens. She remembers, absurdly, the safety pamphlet her landlord slid under her door last year. In case of fire, do not open the door if the knob is hot. She didn't even read the rest. She'd laughed and tossed it on the counter next to expired coupons. Violet stares at the knob like it's a snake. A muffled bang echoes down the corridor. Then another. A voice yells, far away but urgent, followed by a chorus of panicked footsteps, coughing, someone sobbing loud enough to cut through the walls. Her mind tries to sprint ahead. Stairs. I have to get to the stairs. But her body won't move. She's frozen in the doorway of her own life, trapped between the safety of a locked door and the terror of what's happening outside it. Her chest constricts. She sucks in air and it feels like swallowing dust. Okay, she whispers to herself, voice thin. Okay, Violet, okay. She backs away from the door and heads to the living room window. The glass is hazy, filmed with smoke. Beyond it, the night is bruised and flickering orange. Somewhere below, people shout. Sirens wail closer, building into a wall of sound that makes her skin prickle. She tries the window latch, stuck. She pulls harder, nails scraping, panic rising. The frame doesn't budge. A cough rips out of her before she can stop it. One cough becomes two. Her eyes burn as if someone has rubbed sand into them. She stumbles to the kitchen, grabbing the dish towel from the oven handle, soaking it under the faucet. The water sputters and then stops, like the building is holding its breath. Of course, she chokes out, furious, terrified. Of course. She presses the damp towel to her mouth anyway, even though it's barely wet, and drops low like she once saw on a news segment. Smoke hangs higher near the ceiling, gray and rolling, while the air nearer the floor is only slightly clearer. A pounding starts on her door. Hard, controlled, not the frantic slap of a neighbor. Fire department, a voice calls. If you can hear me, yell. Violet's lungs seize with relief so sharp it hurts. She crawls toward the hallway, towel to her face, and shouts, I'm here, I'm here. Stay low, the voice answers immediately. Do not open the door. She doesn't. She just presses her forehead to the carpet and squeezes her eyes shut, trying not to breathe too fast. Her heart is a trapped animal. The pounding changes, metallic now, like something heavy bracing against wood. The door groans. The hinges complains. Then the lock gives with a crack that sounds like a bone snapping. The door swings inward, and the hallway beyond is a nightmare. Smoke churning, lights dead, the air pulsing orange from somewhere down the corridor. And in that haze, a firefighter appears like a myth made real. He's tall, broad-shouldered, black, wrapped in turnout gear, streaked with soot. His helmet lamp slices through the smoke in a clean beam. A mask covers half his face, but his eyes are visible. Steady, blithe focus, the kind of calm that doesn't deny danger, it simply refuses to be owned by it. He drops to one knee instantly, lowering himself to her level. I see you, he says, voice muffled through the mask but clear in intent. Can you move? Violet tries to answer, but coughing steals her words. She nods once, then again, frantic. Her hands tremble on the carpet. Okay, good. He reaches out, gloved hand hovering, not touching yet, like he's asking permission without wasting time. I'm Elias. I'm going to get you out, understand? She nods again. Tears leak from her eyes, hot and helpless. Elias clips something to her shirt, his gloved fingers quick and careful, and then presses an extra mask over her face, the kind that feeds clean air. Cool oxygen floods her lungs, and she almost sobs from the shock of it. There we go, he says, softer. Breathe. In. Out. Violet clings to the mask with both hands like it's a lifeline. For the first time in minutes, her chest loosens. But then the building shudders. A deep, violent whump reverberates through the floor, and the smoke in the hallway thickens as if it's been kicked by an unseen foot. Elias's head snaps toward the sound. Stairwell's compromised. A radio crackles from somewhere on his chest. Heat's pushing fast. 2 minutes, maybe less. Copy, Elias answers, voice clipped now. He looks back at Violet. We're going out the window. Violet's brain blanks. My, she starts, thinking of her things, her life, her grandmother's ring on the dresser, the framed photo of her dad smiling on a beach. Elias cuts through the fog with the simplest truth. Not worth dying for. Another tremor. The drywall above the hallway light fixture cracks like a spiderweb. Violet's fear surges again, wild and hot. She shakes her head, trying to stand, legs refusing, body heavy with adrenaline and dread. Elias doesn't flinch. He shifts closer, and this time, he touches her, one hand on her forearm, firm and anchoring. Hey, he says, look at me. She forces her gaze up. His eyes lock onto hers. You're safe with me, he says, like it's a promise he intends to keep, even if the world collapses around them. I've got you. We move together, okay? Violet swallows, nods. Okay? Good. Good. Elias slides one arm behind her back, another under her knees, and lifts. The sensation is strange, being carried like she weighs nothing, like the panic that has pinned her to the floor can't touch her in his arms. Violet clutches his jacket instinctively, fingers gripping thick fabric and soot, and for a second, her face presses against the hard plate of his gear. She hears his breathing, steady and controlled through his mask. She feels the strength of him, not rough, not careless, but purposeful. He moves fast, low, toward the living room, each step measured as the building groans around them. Smoke swirls in angry loops, heat bites at Violet's exposed skin, even with Elias shielding her. At the window, Elias nudges the frame with a tool. The glass pops, and he kicks the remaining shards outward. Cold night air slaps Violet's face, shocking and clean. She looks down and sees the drop, 3 floors at least. Fire trucks below, lights strobing red and white, people gathered behind tape, faces tilted up like praying. A ladder rises, metal rungs glinting. Elias braces her against his chest and leans out, signaling. Another firefighter, helmeted, faceless in the chaos, guides the ladder into place. We're going down, Elias tells her, close enough that she can hear him over the sirens. Keep your arms around my neck. Don't look down. Look at me. Violet's fingers tighten. She nods, terrified, trusting him anyway because she has nothing else. Elias swings one leg onto the ladder, then the other, then he's holding her like she is the only thing that matters in the world. He begins the descent, rung by rung, his body blocking her from the heat that roars from the broken window behind them. Halfway down, Violet hears it, the sound of something giving way upstairs. A heavy crash, a rush of flame that blooms out the window like a furious breath. Her body jolts. She whimpers into her mask. Elias doesn't stop. He moves faster, controlled but urgent, muscles working under his gear. His eyes stay on her face, checking, counting her breaths like it's a rhythm he can keep her alive with. They hit the last rung. Hands reach up. Strong arms take Violet from Elias and guide her onto the pavement. The moment her feet touch the ground, her knees buckle. She collapses onto the asphalt and someone wraps a blanket around her shoulders. The world is noise, sirens, shouting, radios, the crackle of fire chewing through her home. Elias drops down beside her a second later, helmet lamp still cutting through smoke and night. He pulls off his mask, and for the first time, Violet sees his full face, sweat and soot streaked, jaw tight, eyes still steady. Violet looks up at him, blanket clutched to her chest, and the words fall out before she can stop them. You saved my life. Elias's gaze flicks to the building, to the flames licking the windows like they're searching for something. For a split second, something crosses his face. Pain, memory, a shadow he doesn't want to name. Then he looks back at Violet, and his voice comes out rougher than before, like it costs him to say it. Maybe we saved each other. And before Violet can ask what he means, before she can even catch her breath, Elias's radio bursts with a new call, sharper, more urgent. Unit 3, we've got someone trapped on the 4th floor, left side, kid, windows flashing a light. Elias's face changes instantly. Duty takes over. He stands, pulling his mask back on. Violet reaches out, fingers catching his sleeve. Elias. He pauses just long enough to look down at her. Even through the chaos, his eyes soften. Stay with the medics, he says. Keep breathing. I'll be right back. Then he turns and runs straight back into the smoke. Violet doesn't remember standing up. One moment she's on the asphalt with a blanket snapping in the wind, oxygen still tasting like metal and mercy. The next, she's on a stretcher under harsh floodlights, and an EMT is asking her questions like her name is the rope they're using to pull her back to shore. Violet, Violet, look at me. What's your last name? Hartman, she manages, voice cracked and small. Her throat feels scraped raw, like she swallowed sand. Any chest pain? No. Any dizziness? You hit your head? No. She coughs and it burns. Tears spill again, not dramatic, just automatic, as if her body has decided it can finally leak everything it held back. The EMT, Dana, according to her badge, shines a light in Violet's eyes and nods. You're doing good. Keep the mask on. Slow breaths. Violet tries in, out. The city spins anyway. Beyond Dana's shoulder, Violet sees the building, her building, vomiting smoke into the night. The windows glow like angry mouths. Sirens pulse red across wet pavement. People stand behind yellow tape with their phones raised, recording someone else's disaster like its content. Violet's hands clench around the blanket. Her phone is gone. Everything is gone. And Elias. She sits up too fast. Dana's palm presses her shoulder back down. Hey, easy. The firefighter, Violet rasped. Elias. Dana glances toward the chaos. Tall guy? Black turnout gear? That's engine 14. He went back in. Violet's stomach drops like an elevator cable snapped. He went back in, she repeats, as if saying it's slower will make it less true. Dana keeps her voice calm, practiced. That's what they do. But Violet's breath stutters. He carried me out. Dana's eyes soften for half a second, then professional again. You're safe. Let them work. Safe. Violet turns her head and watches the ladder rake up the building's face. Firefighters move like shadows in orange light. The world becomes sound and light, and the sickening knowledge that a man she met 30 seconds ago is now inside her burning home. And for reasons Violet can't explain, it doesn't feel like a stranger risking his life. It feels like a thread tied to her chest just got yanked tight. A police officer approaches the ambulance with a clipboard. Ma'am, we need to confirm residence. Are you from Unit 3B? Violet blinks. Yes. Anyone else inside your unit? Pets? No, just me. The officer nods, scribbling. Did you see where the fire started? Violet tries to reach back through the fog in her brain. I woke up, smoke. The power was out, the hallway, it was all ready. She shakes her head. I don't know. Okay, he steps away, already scanning for the next person to question. Violet stares upward again. A beam of light appears on the 4th floor. Quick, panicked flashes in a window that isn't flaming yet. A child's signal. Someone is still up there. The radio chatter sharpens. Voices layer. A commander barks orders. Violet's hands curl into fists so tight her nails bite her palms. Then she sees him. Elias reappears at the building's entrance like a figure cut out of smoke. His helmet lamp swings as he runs, and for a heartbeat, Violet thinks her mind is playing tricks, making him appear because she can't handle the alternative. But he's real. He's hauling a smaller firefighter with him, someone coughing hard, staggering. Elias half drags him toward fresh air, and another crew swarms, pulling the man away, patting his gear, checking his mask. Elias stands there for 1 second longer, chest heaving. Even from this distance, Violet can feel the weight on him. The way he doesn't get to be done just because he brought one person out. He looks up at the 4th floor. The window flashes again. Elias's shoulders square. He keys his radio. Violet can't hear his words over the sirens, but she sees the posture, decision made. The type of decision people make when they've already lived through the worst and decided to keep walking anyway. He turns back toward the building. Violet bolts upright on the stretcher. Dana catches her. Hey, no. Stay down. I have to. Violet's voice snaps. He's going back in again. Dana presses her back with firm hands. You can't go in there. I know. Violet's chest rises too fast. I know. But he said, she swallows. He said maybe we saved each other. Dana pauses, the smallest hitch in her expression, like she's heard that kind of sentence before, people saying strange, true things right after they almost die. I need to talk to him, Violet says, pleading now. Please. Dana shakes her head once. When he comes back out. When, Violet repeats, forcing the word into existence like a prayer. Minutes stretch. The fourth floor window goes dark, then flares bright as flame catches the curtain inside. Someone screams from the crowd. Violet's lungs lock. A second ladder rises. Firefighters climb, bodies outlined against smoke like black cutouts. Water cannons hammer the building's sides, spraying mist that glitters in the emergency lights. The street becomes a storm of ash and sirens and wet night air. Violet watches the ladder like it's the only thing holding her heart up. She doesn't know how long she stares. Time turns syrupy in trauma. Somewhere in it, Dana speaks again. Violet, Dana says gently. Do you have anyone we can call? My sister. Violet's lips tremble. Her name is Mina. I don't. My phone. Dana nods. We'll get a phone. Do you know the number? Violet shakes her head, helpless. The number lived in her contacts. The contacts lived in her phone. The phone is upstairs, maybe already melted into nothing. She makes a sound that isn't quite a sob. Dana squeezes her arm. We'll figure it out. A firefighter jogs up to the ambulance, face sooty, eyes wide with adrenaline. We got the kid, he tells Dana quickly. Alive, minor smoke inhalation. Violet exhales so hard she shakes. Relief hits her like a wave. She presses the mask tighter to her face, trying to stop her own trembling. Elias? She asks, the name coming out raw. The firefighter hesitates. Violet's stomach turns to ice. Elias? She repeats, louder. Is he out? The firefighter glances toward the building, then back. Not yet. Not yet. Violet stares at the doorway. The black mouth of it. Smoke spilling like breath. 1 minute, 2. A stretcher rolls by with someone on it, face covered in an oxygen mask, hair singed at the edges. Violet's stomach twists. She squeezes her eyes shut and tells herself not to imagine. She opens them anyway, because imagining is pointless. Watching is worse. The crowd murmurs. Someone cries. A woman shouts a name that doesn't get answered. Violet's hands find each other under the blanket and clasp hard. She isn't religious, not in the way that makes sense in quiet rooms, but in this street, under this burning sky, she starts bargaining with whatever might be listening. Please, please. He went in for someone. Let him come back. A new wave of heat pushes out of the entrance. Fire licks along the hallway inside, like visible for half a second, like the building is showing its teeth. Then, movement. A silhouette stumbles into the doorway and drops to one knee. Another shadow appears behind him. 2 firefighters, one supporting the other. Violet's breath stops. The first firefighter pulls his mask off and coughs violently, but he doesn't fall. He shifts his weight, bracing the man beside him like a wall. The man he's holding is smaller, limp for a moment. Then the limp man lifts his head, and Violet sees Elias's helmet light. It wobbles, flickers, then steadies. Elias's face is smeared with soot, eyes reddened. He looks like he's been dragged across the edge of hell and refused to let it keep him. The crowd claps, automatic, desperate, grateful. People cheer like noise can protect him. Elias doesn't even look at them. His gaze sweeps the street, searching, scanning, until it lands on the ambulance, on Violet. Even from this distance, Violet feels it. That thread pulling tight again. Elias gives the other firefighter to a medic team, then walks toward Violet with a strange, careful urgency, like he's made of exhaustion and stubbornness holding hands. Dana sees him and steps aside. Elias stops by the stretcher, breathing hard. Violet sits up, blanket sliding off her shoulders, hair wild, cheeks streaked with tears and ash. She doesn't care how she looks. She only cares that he's here. You came back out, she whispers, like saying it will keep it true. Elias studies her face for half a beat, as if checking for damage that isn't visible. You breathing okay? He asks. His voice is hoarse, scraped raw by smoke. Violet nods. Thanks to you. Elias's jaw flexes, and for the first time his calm cracks enough to show what's underneath. I almost didn't, he admits quietly, so only she can hear. The hallway flashed. The heat. He swallows, eyes flicking toward the building like it's a memory he can't shake. I've lost people in fires before. Violet's throat tightens. You mean other residents? Elias shakes his head once. My brother. The words fall heavy. Years ago. Violet's heart aches in a way that makes no sense for a man she met in smoke. But maybe that's what near death does. It strips away smallness. It makes truth feel urgent. I'm sorry, Violet says, voice shaking. Elias, I'm so sorry. He doesn't answer right away. He just stands there, eyes locked on hers, like he's trying to decide whether he's allowed to say what he's about to say. Then he nods toward the blanket around her. You were calm, he says. Most people fight me. Most people panic. I did panic, Violet breathes, almost laughing through tears. I just panicked quietly. Elias's mouth twitches, half a smile, gone too fast. You listened. You trusted me. Violet swallows hard. I didn't have a choice. Yes, you did. His voice is firm, not harsh. You could have frozen. You could have fought. You didn't. You moved with me. Violet's eyes burn again. Because you said you had me. Elias's gaze softens. He looks away for a second, like the emotion is too bright to stare at directly. Then he looks back and speaks low, like he's telling her something sacred. I said maybe we saved each other, he reminds her, and I meant it. Violet's fingers curl around the edge of the stretcher. How? Elias exhales slowly, shoulders sagging, the adrenaline draining out of him in real time. I've been running into fires like I'm trying to outrun something, he admits. Trying to prove I can bring everybody out, trying to make up for the one I couldn't. Violet's chest tightens. And then I found you, Elias says. In that apartment. Alone. Fighting to breathe. And for a second, it wasn't about proving anything. His eyes shine with something dangerous and honest. It was just about getting you back to air. Violet's voice comes out small. And that saved you? Elias nods once. It reminded me why I started. Silence swells between them, loud even under sirens. Violet doesn't know what to do with the feeling blooming in her chest. This strange mix of gratitude and grief, and something warmer trying to rise from the ashes. She reaches out before she can overthink it and takes his gloved hand. It's still warm, still solid. Elias looks down at their hands like he's surprised by the contact, like he's been living in a world of fire and duty and distance for too long. You don't have to, he starts. I want to, Violet says, steadying her voice. Because you came back out. Because you didn't have to talk to me right now. Elias's throat works. He seems about to say something else. A radio squawks on his chest, sharp and urgent again. Engine 14, you're needed. Rehab tent. Now, you're done for the night. Elias's eyes close for half a second, like the order is both a relief and an ache. He looks back at Violet. I have to go. Violet's fingers tighten on his hand. Will I see you again? The question is out before she can stop it. It hangs between them, too vulnerable, too hopeful, too soon. Elias stares at her, and for a moment the smoke and sirens fade, and it's just two people standing on the edge of a life that almost ended. Then he nods, slow and certain. I'm going to make sure you do, he says. He releases her hand carefully, like letting go matters. Then he steps back, pulls his helmet strap tighter, and walks away toward the rehab tent, toward the part of the night that still belongs to fire. Violet watches him go, heart pounding, ash on her skin, blanket slipping off her shoulders, ember. And for the first time since she woke up tasting smoke, she realizes something else is happening inside her, besides fear. Something like a beginning. Violet wakes to quiet that isn't peace, just the absence of sirens. She's on a cot in a community center gym, wrapped in a donated blanket. When she swallows, her throat burns and the whole night slams back into place. Smoke like teeth, the hallway breathing heat, Elias's arms around her as the ladder shook. A hand finds hers. Hey, Mina whispers. Violet turns her head and sees her sister in a folding chair, hoodie up, eyes swollen from crying. Mina looks like she's been awake for Violet on purpose. You're awake, Mina says. Then she hugs Violet carefully, and Violet's thick, curvy body shakes in her arms, finally letting the fear out now that it's safe to fall apart. I lost everything, Violet murmurs. No, Mina says immediately. You didn't. You're here. Violet tries to hold that sentence, but her mind keeps replaying the moment Elias turned and ran back into the building. Elias, Violet says, the name slipping out like a confession. Mina pulls back. The firefighter? Violet nods. I asked, Mina says. They wouldn't tell me much, but an EMT said engine 14 checked in. He's okay. Relief hits Violet so hard it hurts. She nods like that's all she can manage without breaking again. The next 2 days blur forms, questions, donated clothes, Mina's couch, a shower that turns the water gray. Violet sleeps in short, violent pieces. Every time she closes her eyes, her front door is warm under her palm. On the third morning, Mina sets a mug of tea in front of her and sits down. You're stuck in the replay, she says softly. Violet stares at the steam. I don't know how to stop it. Start with one real thing you can do, Mina says. One thing that happened that wasn't smoke. Violet's throat tightens. She thinks of clean oxygen flooding her lungs, of a steady voice saying, look at me. I need to thank him, she admits. Mina nods once. Then we go. Violet writes a note with Mina's pen. Her handwriting still shakes. Thank you for bringing me back to air. Violet. The firehouse looks ordinary. Red doors, a flag, trucks parked. Violet's heart hammers as she climbs the steps. She's afraid of seeing him and afraid of not seeing him. A woman behind the front desk looks up. Authority. Can I help you? I'm looking for Elias, Violet says. Engine 14. Recognition softens the woman's face. You're from the apartment fire. I'm Captain Moreno. Come with me. She leads Violet down a hallway that smells like bleach and diesel. In a rehab room, firefighters sit with water bottles and towels around their necks, faces drawn by heat and exhaustion. Elias is in the corner. Out of gear, he's still tall and broad-shouldered, worn around the eyes. When he looks up and sees Violet, he stills like the world has pressed pause. Then he stands, slow and careful. You're here, he says, voice hoarse. You're walking. Violet's eyes fill before she can stop them. She holds the note out with both hands. I wanted to thank you. Elias takes it like it weighs something. He reads it twice. His jaw tightens, then eases. You didn't have to come, he says, but he doesn't look away. Yes, Violet answers. I did. A silence stretches, full of things that happen too fast to understand. How's your breathing? Elias asks. Better, Violet says. My head keeps replaying it. He nods like that's normal. It will for a while. Violet's voice drops. You said you lost your brother. Elias's gaze flicks away for a heartbeat, then returns. Yeah. I'm sorry, Violet says. When you ran back in, it felt like you were fighting something besides the fire. Elias exhales slowly. His name was Micah, he says. 14, space heater, old wiring. I got out. He didn't. Violet's chest aches. She lifts her hand toward his arm and stops, hovering, uncertain. Elias notices. It's okay, he says softly. You can. Violet rests her palm on his forearm, warm, real, alive. I don't think it's supposed to balance, Violet whispers. I think it's supposed to mean something. Elias closes his eyes for a second. I became a firefighter because I thought if I saved enough people, the math would work, he admits. Like I could undo it. Violet's fingers tighten gently. But you didn't freeze. You saved me. Elias's voice drops. I almost did. When I found you, I heard Micah's cough in my head. He swallows. But you looked at me. You listened. You moved with me. Because you said you had me, Violet breathes. Elias's eyes soften. Yeah, he says. And for a second, it wasn't about proving anything. It was just getting you back to air. Violet's throat tightens. Maybe we saved each other. Elias's mouth twitches, almost a smile. Maybe. Captain Moreno appears in the doorway, giving them time, but not forever. Elias glances at her, then back to Violet. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a folded paper, firehouse stationery, edges creased. He offers it to Violet. She opens it. A phone number. Under it, careful block letters. If you wake up and it feels like smoke again, call. Violet presses the paper to her chest like it's armor. Thank you, she whispers. Elias rubs the back of his neck, the head suddenly unsure in a way that's painfully human. Coffee? He asks. Daytime. Somewhere that doesn't smell like burning. Violet nods, tears slipping anyway. Okay. Elias covers her hand on his arm with his own. Gentle, steady, not trapping, just there. Outside, an engine rumbles. Life keeps going. But Violet feels something shift inside her, like the thread between them isn't a trap. It's a lifeline. On the steps outside, Violet breathes in cold air and lets it fill places fear used to live. She tucks Elias's number into her wallet like a talisman. The street is still loud, still normal, but she isn't. For the first time, the replay loosens. In its place, I'm still here, today.